What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leads, Lights, and Lots. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Again, studio getting put together here a little bit, haphazard lighting, a little bit too much lighting coming in from this side. I need to shave, again, get construction at your new house. You're trying to do a million things at once, but again, I just sat in this office, lovely air-conditioned office now, and, well, I just had some baseball today, and it seemed like I ended up on a lot more money lines than normal. In fact, relative to the number of games, 9, I ended up on, I believe, almost every single one, 6 or 7 of them, and that is a wild outcome. That never happens with me. We'll see how it all pans out for them. Boston, they kind of did okay. It's wild how much hate I got from Houston fans. You understand nobody else likes Houston, right? Well, everybody likes free money, and you can get an opportunity to get some of that by checking out Caesars Sportsbook, friends. Bet $50, get $250. Now, it isn't all free. That's not how this works, but you bet $50 over at Caesars Sportsbook, you're going to get an unbelievable deal when you sign up at that link below. $250 given to you as $50 bonus bets. Again, weekly bonus bets of $50. That's every single Monday. It'll show up in your account for 4 consecutive weeks, in addition to a $50 bonus bet that shows up in your account instantly when you make that wager. So a really good deal over at Caesars Sportsbook, only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But 15 games on this slate. Yeah, we'll see how Arizona plays here tonight. They're about to get going. That's going to be a big one for me. And hopefully Tommy Pham can go yard. If you're following me on Twitter/X, you have an opportunity. I've been doing a lot of home run threads. People want to talk through the process of what my spreadsheet is telling me. I take you down a walk of all of that. So if you guys want to learn how to make better plays, it all comes down to the odds in the end. But if you want to make better plays in the home run market, follow me over on Twitter/X at Eric Lindquist. Also doing Lindy's Locks update on the daily Monday through Friday. So cool. Now we're going to get into the picks. Producer Jacob, we're ready to rock, my dude. Hopefully this is the last one before it looks really cool in here, but that's probably not going to be the case. It's getting there. Just got to get there before NFL Lindy's, that's for sure. Producer Jacob, let's get to the picks. Our day begins with the aforementioned Houston Astros. They didn't play very good. Losing 17-1, I've heard, is bad. And if you would have told me that it was minus 170 at the beginning of this year, and that I would have no interest in backing Framber Valdez against the Detroit Tigers with Matt Manning on the mound, I would have thought you were batshit insane. Yes, it's in Detroit on the road. Yes, Houston just got the floor cleaned with them. And yes, out of the middle of nowhere, Jordan Alvarez came back for that game on Thursday. A lot of people were asking me, hey, are you still interested? Yes. If I don't respond sometimes, if I have a ton going on like a Thursday, assume. Because if I notice it, if I notice your comment and I don't respond to it instantly because of something, well, I'm a dick. But also, just doing the best that I can for you. More than likely, nothing's changed. If it has changed and I see a comment like that, I will let you know as soon as I see it. Did that make sense? That probably didn't make sense. Anyway, it doesn't make sense how bad Framber Valdez has been of late. So I had to go through the old velocity report, and it sure looks like it's just fine. But again, the major thing, a change in ground ball rate for him, it's gotten ridiculously bad. 46.3% hard hit percentage, and this is a guy who was routinely around 65%. It's down to 54.5%. Is that still above average for a ground ball rate? Yes. Is it not quite Framber Valdez-esque and probably leading to some hard hit, especially against lefty or against righties, because he is a lefty? Also, yes. So it's bad both ways, is what I'm getting at. Anyway, on the Detroit side, Matt Manning is a pitcher that I have been backing once upon a time, but there are some really concerning things that I think are different from last year in a very small sample size into this year. Number one, 509 expected slugging and just a 15.6% K rate. I guess that's 2 things. How about a third thing? 11.2% barrel rate. How about a fourth thing? 17.4 degree average launch angle. However, well, I mean, Houston basically just took the day off on Thursday. Had to just chill after getting walloped there in the first 3 innings. And yeah, 17-1. Everybody's cheering against Houston in real life. But maybe in real life, Detroit plus 1.5 makes some sense here. Minus 110 standard juice. It stood out to me. It wasn't quite a play for me, but maybe that line could move just a little bit more. Never mind. Detroit plus 1.5. Just a lean, probably not going to bet anything here. Next up on the old agenda, yay! Giancarlo Stanton goes yard for all the people. My favorite home run play on the board said it yesterday. Anything better than plus 250. We got plus 290. Thank you so much, FanDuel.com. Saw some people who betted at plus 240. Don't do stuff like that. You hurt my heart when you don't listen to the words that I say. Listen to the words that I say. Or don't do what you're going to do anyway. But I loved the Giancarlo Stanton walloper. And then they still lose anyway. So I hate them for that because, well, ended up with Tampa Bay, New York. Maybe I was just bored. I put the two of them together at major minus money. And no, I wasn't bored. I thought it projected out really, really nicely. So, of course, that Torres goes yard, Judge goes yard, Stanton goes yard, and they lose the baseball game. Only the Yankees, man. How about Garrett Cole, though, on the mound here in Tampa Bay? And this is just a wild spot. I thought this would be like autoplay. And again, I don't even know what to make of this here for Tampa Bay here. It's Zach Eflin on the mound. I know it says Braxton Garrett there, but it's actually Zach Eflin because Braxton Garrett plays for Miami. And then Garrett Cole plays for the Yankees, but then it's going to be Zach Eflin. Whatever. I'm getting waved off by producer Jacob. He's just saying, continue on, Eric. Continue on. You know what? You have to keep this now, you failure. Happy weekend. It's Zach Eflin on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays. 34.9% hard hit percentage, 270 xWOBA, but just a 3.5% walk rate. But we've seen a couple of blow-up spots here. I don't think this is necessarily it, though. Yeah, Aaron Judge is locked in. The Yankees were not locked in. One win in their last, 11, and we're going to anoint them. They are who we thought they were. Shout out Denny Green. Actually, don't. I mean, we had some good teams with him, with my Vikings once upon a time. I know he was with the Cardinals, and it was the Bears for that whole thing. Speaking of which, NFL Lindy's coming to a Friday near you. I just thought I'd tease that because 2 weeks from today, the first NFL Lindy's. Producer Jacob will do a better job of doing graphics for that one, I'm pretty sure. Threw him under the bus twice. I bet he makes me look like an idiot on the rest of the show. I better just, smooth sailing. Garrett Cole, smooth sailing for him, 302 xWOBA, 26.4% K rate. Would be nice to get him some run production, right? Even though, again, the year of our Lord 2023, we shouldn't be worried about a 10-4 record. We shouldn't be worried about a 3 ERA or a 1.07 whip, or the fact that he's given up 6 and 4 in 2 of his last 3. We should be a little concerned about that. Again, no run support. He's had 1 run backing him in 2 of his last 3. We shouldn't be worried about that either, because again, it doesn't actually factor in. I'm just leaning on the under of 7.5, and I'm very aware of how mad producer Jacob is. Can you all give him some love here as we head into the weekend? He's been fantastic all season long, and I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to do you like that. Would you look at that? It's the Washington Nationals with Jonah Dunn and Braxton Garrett for the Miami Marlins. Good job, producer Jacob. 5 stars. Would you like a little gold star for the day? This is how I imagine you clap to little kid in class. He's still good, guys. He's the best producer in the game. Dame Jacob. By far. I can't think of a better Jacob. Actually, I know a Jakob that's better than him, but best C, Jacob with a C that I know of. I'm probably the worst Eric with a C in his book at this point in time. Jonah Dunn. I'm a Don with him. He's got a 23.0% K rate, 480 expected slugging, but overall getting shifted into a long form role here. Doesn't look all that good, but I wanted to kind of do a specific thing where I'm trying to find undervalued pieces. And one thing that stood out to me 2 days ago was how far down the totem pole Jazz Chisholm has fallen in my rankings as far as hitters go. I basically have a ranking where I try to say, hey, these are who I think the most underpriced hitters are going to be relative to their price. And it just seems like he's never been on my betting card all season long. In fact, I have one wager from now, this moment, August 25th. It's actually August 24th. I'm a liar. It's Thursday still for me. But on Friday, August 25th, by the time you hear this, back to the beginning of the season, I have one wager on Jazz Chisholm. It was an over on 0.5 bases. There was just a filler on something. It was minus 195. And that just feels like cheating. It was against a good arm, actually, too. But I mean, that's wild because I feel like he was on my betting card a ton 2 years ago when I started doing this program. And I guess we got to talk through some of the reasons why he's been worse. There you go. There are your reasons. But 42.7% hard hit percentage, 415 expected slugging. It's not like he's a complete zero. And now you get a matchup against a righty who I don't really like all that much. And he's got a 215 x ISO against righties on the season with a 320 x WOBA. Does have that 31.7% K rate against them. That is kind of the problem here. But I think we might be running into value based on what I've seen the last week as I started uploading some of his stuff. And I just want to throw out total bases. I don't do that very often here because it is especially difficult to be able to tell you what these odds are going to be coming into the day, which is why I prefer home run plays on this program, which is why I prefer to give you those. And it's also just something that I think there are more variables that allow for me to be profitable over a long period of time. Because again, a 20-cent difference, it's going to be difficult when you're talking about something close to even money, minus 110, minus 120. But when you can get plus 250 when it should be plus 230, something of that nature, or the extreme ones like Tommy Pham today, you have an opportunity to smash the home run marketplace. So Jazz Chisholm over 1.5 total bases against this righty here, specifically Jonah Dunn, in a ballpark that neutralizes power and everything there in Miami. However, I think it's gone a little bit too far. I expect him to be batting cleanup here. Want to also be paying attention to the home run odds, but don't want to be recommending that in this park from the get-go based on last couple numbers. The Colorado Rockies and the Baltimore Orioles. Let's get the betting cards started for all you people who are like, I only want games. I only want totals. Who's going to win, Eric? I want to pick on every single game. That's not how we do things on this program. I get to pick what I want to do. That's fun. And normally what I like to do is bet these Baltimore Orioles, but it's weird. Even at minus 185, not in love with this situation. And let's talk through it. 2 lefties on the mound. That is the big, huge deal in this ballpark. Orioles Park at Camden Yards. I think that's how it's affectionately known. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I got that right, even though I know I screwed up Comerica and everything yesterday. Shout out the comments on YouTube. They're really fun. Colorado Rockies, friends. Southpaws. Kyle Freeland, Cole Irvin. They have power problems. Absolute power problems. 44% hard hit percentage for Kyle Freeland and a 508 expected slugging for Cole Irvin, even though he does limit technically just the hard contact, 35.4%. And why does that matter here in Camden? Well, left field has a massive wall. It is the hardest ballpark for righty power in the league because you just built that tall-ass wall, and it's like you got to get a Trojan horse and you got to wheel it up to the thing, and then you got to throw the things over, and then the people come out of the little horse and they do the thing. No, that's not how it works, but just trust me, it's really hard for righty power. I don't know where to go other than okay, we talked about the pitchers. Oh yeah, the under of 9. That's why I like it here. 9 getting a key number right here as it stands right now. And the other part of this is that I believe looking across the entire stratosphere. I don't know why I said it that way. It's a weird way of saying it, but 9 plus 100. We're talking even money, friends, over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Under 9, beautiful thing to get the card going here for you, total and team people. I love you. I want to pull the trigger on this. I just can't. And it says like on my sheet. It says it's supposed to be a like. So I'm just going to be going against data. That's never a good idea. However, sometimes when you just have that little itch in your knee, when the weather gets a little bit weird and you're like, you just feel it. It's like, oh, I did know a storm was coming. How smart I am. That's never happened to me, but I've heard of people having that happen to them. The St. Louis Cardinals, the Philadelphia Phillies here, Miles Mikolas and Christopher Sanchez. And this is kind of the deal. Christopher Sanchez, he's really good in terms of the ground ball department, but yet he has multiple 2 home run games over the course of his last 5. So I'm not quite sure what to make of that because in a vacuum, he has a 38.8% hard hit percentage. The Southpaw does, a 302 xWOBA, and a 58.5% ground ball percentage, which is higher than Framber Valdez. So let's put it that way. That's wild. Miles Mikolas, though, I don't see it. I don't see what I'm supposed to like here. He's got a 465 expected slugging, just a 16.5% K rate. The only thing he really does is limit walks. It's about the only thing he's been good for. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Worst contract in baseball, but not really. Steven Strasburg's retiring. That's probably the worst contract in baseball. Anthony Rendon's pretty bad. Those are the first two off the top of my head. But shout out Strasburg. His early career was just incredible. We're going to have to give him some accolades. And also, without him and Scherzer, Washington has nothing to show for their franchise. Anyway, Kyle Schwarber, Brandon Marsh, Jake Cave, who, has been hitting the ball hard, and of course, Bryce Harper, first baseman Bryce Harper. They create a lot of issues for me wanting to pull the trigger with St. Louis plus money here. And I see what's happening here. I have this St. Louis lineup that I give a little bit of a bump to because Wilson Contreras, Paul Goldschmidt, of course, Nolan Arenado. These guys are really, really good against lefties. And again, there's been some power profile of Christopher Sanchez despite the ground ball rate, but I want better than plus 115. So if this doesn't get north of plus 120, I'm okay just sitting it out, not playing it. But that's, of course, where I'm going to lead in this situation. St. Louis, the Dogs, it's the dog days of summer for a reason, friends. I'm not going to take Philadelphia here, even against Miles Michaelis. And yeah, St. Louis, I want a little bit better price. I got a couple props coming up next, so, or you could just skip this game and skip the next. Don't skip games, but if you want to, go ahead, because these are going to be two props for you here. Cubs, Pirates. I got to say, the Cody Bellinger home run prop was a little bit too short for my liking there. Thought we were going to get an even better number, and as I started running some stuff, it looked like Arizona. Ended up with two pieces of that. Christian Walker and Tommy Pham on the premium betting card. You can get that by signing up at BetMGM in the link below, only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. You'll get 2 free months, or you can sign up for the premium Discord, which has been popping with a lot of new people. Really love the community that we built over there. Not just myself, but Ben Raza, Eitan Shander, so many great people here at OddsShopper. Okay, now we can start talking about the game. We have the Cubs, we have the Pirates, and a pretty interesting pitching matchup. Look at this. Producer Jacob's awesome. Kyle Hendricks, Mitch Keller, comeback Keller. He's been especially on the comeback here of late, but starting with Kyle Hendricks, all he does is just limit hard contact and look old. That's what he does. 31.5% hard hit percentage, and he's old. How old is he actually? I'm very curious. Am I literally about to click on this and get the wheel of death as I do it? He's 33. I thought he was way older than 33. He's younger than me? Oh, I'm going to die soon. I just see my mortality in front of me. Anyway, Mitch Keller, he's found ways to overcome the fear of death. 34.4% hard hit percentage, 26% K rate, 7.1% walk rate. But really, this is what it comes down to. And sometimes what it comes down to is everything's going to be fine, as long as you're getting those strikeouts. And boy, 12 against my Twins. But again, Minnesota Twins, outliers, friends. They have the highest K rate in all of baseball against righties. They also have a fantastic 108 WRC+, so it's a little bit feast-famine when you go up against them. The Cubs are middle of the road in that department, 22.8%, but they bring a 105 WRC+ to the table. So basically, Mitch Keller, you better have that strikeout stuff back in action here. I think it had more to do with the matchup than anything else. However, one thing I do like is that when you see something that just stands out to you, and that is a velocity uptick in his fastball, and the sinker and cutter seem to have a little bit more spin in his last couple outings, and then he's also just finding ways of limiting home runs, hasn't given one up the last two. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here in this spot and make him a combination play similar to what we did with Pablo Lopez, where I'm going to just kind of throw it out there, and I'm going to think about putting him together with this money line. So again, plus money, Mitch Keller's on. Pirates, not my favorite back in the entire world, but Kyle Hendricks shouldn't be crazy there for us. So Mitch Keller, I'm being very, very pessimistic. Well, actually optimistic. Sorry. I'm going to put him at 6 Ks, and I want you to know that I want to see the number before I do anything here. I expect it to be 5.5. If it ends up being 6.5, probably going to be staying away to some capacity, but I might still think about combining 6 with the money line if it makes sense here, purely because I do think he's a way better pitcher than Kyle Hendricks. And also, PNC Park suppresses runs, less of an outlier type situation, might have more value. going with the combination of great pitcher with a great opportunity, and then, well, I'm talking in circles. Next game. Said I had another prop, so you probably could rightfully assume it's a home run prop. And spoiler alert, you're right. Yeah, you were right the whole time. Tanner Beebe going up against Chris Bassett here in Friends. Tanner Beebe, not going to go out of my way to pick on him. 297 xWOBA, 374 expected slugging. Does have that 16.5 degree average launch angle. So I did think about it for a second with a Brandon Belt type situation, but he's been batting second, third, I guess, with Bo Bichette batting third here. And they need lefty power to show up for Toronto because they have all the righty power in all the land, or in Canada. Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero, Matt Chapman, George Springer, Danny Jansen, at least relative to catchers. And then Dalton Varsho just hasn't been in. 36.2% hard hit percentage, 301 xWOBA. But Brandon Belt starting to show some power close to that 40-41% type number. Again, just a 208 expected batting average and a 35% K rate. Probably not my favorite spot to go out of my way to try to force something here. And I don't like any of the previous numbers, although that was in Orioles Park where lefty power can play up. And righties, you had Bo Bichette at plus 900 or something today. Look at the expected home run column over on Baseball Savant. It lines up perfectly. I was showing that to somebody today where Baltimore, first team in terms of Baltimore. There's Atlanta that should be for some reason they have them listed first, the Baltimore Orioles. So just wanted to throw it out there for you if you cared. If you don't care, don't do it. But expected home runs per park. You're going to see how difficult it is as a right-handed hitter when you go in there and you see what their home run profile would be in Camden compared to other places. That's what I'm getting at. I'm also getting at Chris Bassett has a lefty problem, friends. We're talking righties. He's awesome. A sub 100 ISO and a 126 expected ISO. Great. Good for you, buddy. But even though he's striking out more lefties, 24.7% K rate compared to a 20.1% K rate against righties, against lefties, he has a 265 ISO and a 229 expected ISO. That is bad. You know who's a really good switch hitter and is really good from the left side of the plate for the Cleveland Guardians? Oh yeah, Jose Ramirez. He's pretty good at baseball. If I get better than plus 290 here in Cleveland, this is my favorite home run play on the board. So yes, we stamped, sealed, delivered. I'm yours to Giancarlo Stanton. Let's do the same thing with this beautiful human being, Jose Ramirez. Producer Jacob, stop being mad at me. I think I found something to make producer Jacob happy, and that's signing up at Caesars Sportsbook. Get yourself $250 when you bet $50 at the link below. Here's how it works, friends. You sign up at that link down there. It's beautiful. It's lovely. Super easy. Super functional. Click on the link. You go and sign up at Caesars Sportsbook for the first time. If you're a new user, you bet $50 on anything in all the land. It could be a baseball play that I have recommended here. It could be a preseason NFL game, whatever you want, but do it before Monday, because for every Monday after it, for 4 more weeks, you're going to get $50 of a bonus bet that hits your account. Not only that, but you're going to get $50 instantly when you make that $50 play. So that is in total $250 in bonus bets from Caesars Sportsbook just by trying out their product. And hey, you could take some massive long shots if you really wanted to. The most you could be out in the course of these 5 weeks would be $50. That's the most you could be out of it, your initial investment. So that is truly 6 opportunities at something to try to hit 1 home run from this video. Or you could be taking plus money dog days of summer type plays, or you could just try to smash a favorite or two, take the biggest favorite on the board for 4 straight weeks and try to incrementally make money on your bonus money. You can do this a number of ways, friends. It's a really fun strategy to think about how to utilize that $50. I have been utilizing them on home run plays because that's generally my standard bet on them anyway. You could use it for whatever else you would like over at Caesars Sportsbook. But again, for you, it has to be in a state that you have not signed up at yet. So Caesars Sportsbook, take advantage of that promotion. It is awesome. It is awesome. If you're going on vacation, going across the state, check it out. Lots of ways to check out Caesars Sportsbook, friends. So do it. It's awesome. Be signed up at BetMGM. Be signed up at DraftKings, FanDuel, Bet365, PointsBet. Doesn't matter. Get exposure to as many sportsbooks as you possibly can. I continue to add sportsbooks to my portfolio. You should be doing the same, only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Alrighty, y'all, back to the picks. if you are in the great state of New York and you do not go to this Mets game and try to get this glow-in-the-dark 15,000 in total edition Ghost Fort glow-in-the-dark baseball at the Mets game, I don't even want to talk to you. You have to go get one of these things. You have to show it off to everybody, or you could send it to me. I will not. Would I give my address for it? Yeah, I probably would. No, maybe. I would do a lot to be at this baseball game tomorrow. We got the Mets, we have the Angels, and it is, of course, Kadai Senga, my guy, expected to be going up against Tyler Anderson. Mr. Anderson, I want to watch The Matrix now. See, producer Jacob, I do like movies. It's true. He thinks that I don't from time to time. I love movies. I'm obsessed with movies. I quote movies all the time. Not as much as I quote music, it would seem. But anyway, Kadai Senga, 15,000 baseballs. That's really the only analysis I want to give here because you know where else I'm going to go, right? Right? Anyway, Tyler Anderson's not very good at the old pitching of baseballs. The Angels, the devastating news, Shohei Ohtani, not going to probably be a pitcher for the next year plus, probably hurts his contract to some extent, although he's still like a top 3 batter in baseball, so like maybe back up the truck anyway and, you know, hit the international market with Shohei Ohtani in a Mets uniform. Could this be a homecoming for him? I don't know. Something tells me the truck could get backed up here from the Mets. I heard they like to spend money on things that don't end up working out. But anywho, Tyler Anderson, 32.1% hard hit percentage, pretty decent, limiting that hard contact. 264 expected batting average, 417 expected slugging, sub 20% K rate. Yeah, not really a whole lot to do there. It feels like about as run-of-the-mill as you're going to get to. I don't really want to play hitters against him, and I really don't want to be backing him. But we know by now, Kadai Senga, want to be backing him with that best pitch in baseball. You got to avoid the walks with him, 11.1%. But told you, he's going to strike out 10, 12 dudes. And this is a really great spot to possibly ladder some Ks. You can ladder some Ks. But similar to what we talked about with Mitch Keller, where I'm looking at packaging that, but I didn't put that in the recommendation portion. I know for a fact that this is something that I am going to do. I'm going to take 7 strikeouts for Kadai Senga with that best pitch in baseball. Can I repeat some numbers too with this forkball, with the Ghost Fork? 128 batting average, a 110 expected batting average against, a 152 slugging, a 147 expected slugging. It is so dumb. A 58.6% whip percentage. Some would say Kevin Gausman has changed up. One of the top pitches in baseball. The splitter of Shohei Ohtani when healthy, one of the best pitches in baseball. I truly believe Kadai Senga's Ghost Fork is the best pitch in baseball. I said it before the season started. I said it when I saw the numbers during the season, and it has not changed. Kadai Senga. Senga Genesis, 7Ks, New York Mets, money line, putting them together. And yes, I said thumbs up even without seeing the number because fuck it. Great analysis to just say F it to everybody and just bet it anyway. That's a terrible piece of advice. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. But we have the Los Angeles Dodgers here going up against the Boston Red Sox. No idea who's going to pitch for Boston. No clue, but they have their choices. And also, they kind of dipped into their bullpen. I don't know if anybody noticed the other day. Did you notice? Do you know what I'm going to say? I'll let you guess. Go ahead. What am I going to say? Go ahead. Who pitched that was a little bit surprising? Out of the pen? For like an inning, less than an inning? Go ahead. Of course, it was Nick Pivetta. Good job. You got it. Nick Pivetta showed up out of the middle of nowhere and pitched 2/3 of an innings, struck out 2 of the guys he faced, so both of his outs, and just 15 pitches. And that was on 2 days rest. He pitched on the 20th, 21st off, 22nd off, pitched on the 23rd. My friends, that's pretty wild, and I think it limits their choices here. I don't think they're going to convert him back to a bullpen guy, but kind of got me thinking, can more teams do this? I got my friend Cameron who watches this video all the time. Shout out Cameron, former AAA pitcher, but legitimately, I'm curious. Could people use their bullpen session as just literally go out and pitch in an actual game and, you know, have 15 pitches 2 days in, and then can you possibly pitch on the 25th, 2 days after? I don't know. It's just not something that I've ever noticed a team doing, and it's not like Nick Pivetta. Sorry, I don't know why I'm wheeling my chair. It's not like Nick Pivetta is somebody that they're really going to have out there for 90, 95 pitches as is. He's gone to, 86, 74 his previous 2 coming into that. So be on the lookout for that. But I do think it ends up being Cutter Crawford otherwise. It's got to be who I think it is, right? Let me double check. Yeah, Cutter Crawford. Has to be. He looked good on the 19th. This would be something where it sets up to be him, and he's one of my favorite pitchers, so it's kind of a difficult spot. However, I'm going to be leaning here on the Lance Lynn side of things, because Lance Lynn in a Dodgers uniform, I very much enjoyed watching some of the improvements, and a lot of it, I think, can be traced directly to the improvement of Yasmani Grandal. Used to be good, not good anymore. Now having Will Smith as your everyday caddy, that is a fun experience. Austin Barnes, also from a defense perspective, not too shabby, but 9 strikeouts. Even last time out, this is the kind of starts that I like from Lance Lynn. 7, only 3 strikeouts, but 10 ground balls, no earned runs, no home runs. It's a new dude. Even though he gave up 3 homers against Oakland out of the middle of flipping nowhere, that was unenjoyable. Lance Lynn. -1.5 Dodgers. I'm going to lean it blindly, but Cutter Crawford, man, it's going to be a tough spot for me to pull the trigger if it's the estimated number that I'm getting. It was 98, 99 at first pitch of Oakland and Chicago here. Going to be a hot one. Like said in mittens from the midday sun. In the world, I don't remember all of the words, but it goes smooth. And it's just like the Oakland under the moon. Oh, see how we got ourselves out of that one? That was annoying, and it was annoying for you too. I'm sorry. But I do have a play from this one, because if you look at these pitchers, a lot of you don't know who this is, and a lot of you know who this is. Right? This Neil character, do you know him? Because I know Dylan Cease, and Dylan Cease, he has ceased to be his former self. It's only 1-0 bottom of the first there right now. I'm expecting infinity runs, and I should have probably bet that over. It was just a tough spot. Anyway, I don't know much about this Neil character other than 690 expected slugging is really bad. 15.5% K rate, also really, really, really bad. So be on the lookout of like why we're putting him out there. I'm assuming he's going to just be an opener because he's a bullpen guy primarily. And then Sean Newcomb is somebody that they called up, but like, Zach Neal also went 67 pitches on the 20th, so he can be lengthened out. I don't know what to make of this. Again, Newcomb got his contract selected from AAA Las Vegas, and well, now he's potentially in line to pitch here, but I don't know. It's going to end up being Neal's got to pitch a majority of it, I would think. Anyway, Dylan Cease, this is why we're going to be on the run line here, friends. Yes, he does have a 42% hard hit percentage. Yes, he does have a 10.3% walk rate, but he brings a 26.7% K rate to the front doorstep and says, here you are, enjoy. Oakland also has a 25.2% K rate, third highest number in baseball, and just an 88 WRC plus against righties on the season. So, like, let's not go out of our way to bet the Oakland Athletics ever in these kind of spots. Yes, offensive, major upgrade ballpark and all of those things, but I think that's a really good thing when you have a drastic difference in terms of starting pitching and bullpen and pretty much everything. I prefer the White Sox side on this one. -1.5. 2 teams that aren't going to do anything other than go to Cabo in October, but that sounds fun. So let's make some money before they do that. Yeah. 5 games to go, my friends. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. If not for me, for the hardest working producer in the game, Jordan Klein. Some of you at Stochastic will get that joke, but it's fine. Producer Jacob's okay too. If you want to hit it for him, go ahead. But we have San Diego, Milwaukee. I really have nothing for you from this one. And in fact, I just think it's a good pitching matchup. Yu Darvish versus Brandon Woodruff. I do find both of them to be appealing backs, but still 8 runs here in Milwaukee, not projecting out all that well for me. 298 xWOBA for Darvish. You're looking at 260 for Brandon Woodruff. He's just starting to get it going again. Stay healthy, young man, and Milwaukee has a chance to maybe do things. It's purely starting pitching, him and Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns, I am mad at you. And it was against my Twins too, bro. Just was on that under, and it wasn't an enjoyable experience for anybody involved. But you already know this. You probably know this, but yeah. Anyway, let's just go to the next one. Under 8, it's a lean here because nothing's projecting out well for me. Nothing is awesome, but there's an under in the next one. Let's just go to the next one. The Texas Rangers taking on my Minnesota Twins here, and who happens to be on the mound? Well, it's Dane Dunning against Sonny Gray. And Dane Dunning, I'm looking at backing because why? 18.7% K rate, 261 expected batting average. Again, data is king, friends. And this is where the data is leading me here with him here. Minnesota. They strike out more than anybody else in baseball against right-handed pitching, 27.7% K rate. But they do bring up a 108 WRC plus. But it's kind of like square peg, square hole kind of thing here because Dane Dunning also limiting hard contact. 143 expected ISO against lefties. That's really good. And then a 114 actual ISO against righties, a 163 xISO against righties. So actually higher expected ISO to righties, but just a 152 ISO against him. And then actually better than that expected ISO from the lefties. And you know the Minnesota Twins are going to roll out the Max Kepler. They've got a litany, a stable of lefties, if you will. You have Kepler, you're going to have Wallner, you're going to have Gallo. In the Gallo, Joey Gallo. That was forced a little bit. And also Lady Gaga. Why is my brain going there? Oh yeah, because under 8.5, it's not shallow. It is lovely. It's lovely. Friday, I need to go. I promise we're going to get to a lock here eventually. I promise. But let's just detour and hit another like, shall we? Put another shrimp on the barbie. That's a movie. Cincinnati Reds, Arizona Diamondbacks. Pretty interesting pitching matchup, actually. We've got Mr. Brett Kennedy. Then we've got Brandon Pfaadt, who we've talked about a lot on this program. Let's start with the Kennedy side of things here, because overall this season for Cincinnati, not much of a sample size, but he hadn't been good until this little tiny stint. We're talking 356 expected slugging in just 39 batted ball events. Only a 12.2% K rate, but a 293 xWOBA, 247 expected batting average. We can do some things with that, Brett Kennedy. You could be all right with that. He went to Fordham University too, and I don't know why I know that. I just know he did. 3.55 expected ERA, 3 actual ERA, but he 5 years ago pitched in the bigs. Been a long time coming for him to get back for the 28-year-old, but 5.88 expected ERA and a 6.75 ERA during that stint, aka didn't go well, aka not good, aka yippee-ki-yay, mother truckers. We're heading to the Arizona Diamondbacks side of this one, talking Brandon Pfaadt, because I'm actually looking at backing him. Coming out of the PCL, it is so hard to know what to do with pitchers. I say it all the time because it's true. They play baseball at zero gravity. The ball flies in Reno and Vegas and Albuquerque and everywhere. But then you have a guy like Brandon Pfaadt, who's one of the highest touted pitchers in all of baseball. And then he shows up and he's just flat immediately. 45.3% hard hit percentage, 346 xWOBA, 482 expected slugging, and an 18.6 degree average launch angle to go with it. But then what happened? They sent him back to AAA, came back, worked on some of his mix, looked okay, looked good enough to come back at least. And a 5.12 expected ERA is better than his 6.13 ERA. And I'm expecting massive improvement because I think Chase Field is a lot easier to pitch in than Reno is. I know that sounds crazy because one, you're facing AAA hitters, and then one, when you're playing up at 7,000 feet, think about every single time that you were sitting there watching a Coors Field game and you just know from the get-go that things are going to shoot out. That's what it's like going to every single AAA Reno baseball game. I know because I have friends who have done those things. Now, is my mouse seriously dead? This is criminal. Anyway, Brandon Pfaadt, we're going to finish this on the keypad. This is really enjoyable. Look at what he did last time out against these San Diego Padres because it was absolute artistry. 7 innings pitched, by far his longest stint that he's had over the course of the season. He had another actually 7-inning outing, but that was in San Francisco. A little different. Even in Petco, 107 pitches, 11 fly balls, which would sound terrifying, just 2 ground balls, but 1 hit in 7 innings. And yeah, the Padres, have they been as good offensively as we expected? No. And I know I'm talking a lot about a game. I'm probably going to talk more about this one than I am the lock section, but we just got done backing Merrill Kelly as a lock at minus 165, was where it kind of finished at. Minus 160, this is kind of getting close to that territory, and these last 3 games are the ones that I have the most interest on in the entire slate. And I want it to be known that I'm really aggressively looking at backing this if somehow, some way people bet against Brandon Pfaadt. But minus 160, half unit play as it stands right now. Thought about another unit here, but I'm happy to just sit here and wish, hoping you believed in superstitions. then maybe you'd see the signs. Jack Johnson, minus 155, minus 150. If we could get that, that would be epic. Rant over it. Arizona money line. I like it. Cool. I have to finish this like this because my mouse is just, it's dead. I'm in love with this spot, though. We have the Seattle Mariners, and you know by now T-Mobile, where it suppresses runs. I'm always interested in stuff. And Brady Singer on the mound on the other side. You might think on the surface, minus 192, plus 170, you would think, that's a pretty large spread discrepancy. You would really think that Bryce Miller is way better than Brady Singer. I disagree. Let's talk through it. Bryce Miller, 62% four-seam usage, 42.8% hard hit percentage, a 19.4 degree average launch angle, 447 expected slugging. I'm telling you, this ballpark does wonders for a pitcher because the 4.30 expected ERA, 3.78 ERA. That was another movie quote, but much better expected ERA, much worse expected ERA than ERA. And why? Because he's pitching in T-Mobile, where it suppresses all of that hard hit. 116.9 mile per hour max exit velocity off the bat with a high launch angle. If you were to take him and drop him into other ballparks, I don't find Bryce Miller to be somebody who's all that impressive at anything that he does besides fastball spin, where he's up in the top 2% in all of baseball, and limiting walks, where he's one of the best pitchers in baseball at that too, 5.1% walk rate. So cool. But facing Kansas City, I do find this lineup to be much improved since the All-Star break. MJ Melendez has rejoined the land of the living. Michael Garcia, Bobby Witt Jr., Nelson Velasquez, Sal Perez, Michael Massey. Those are 6 hitters I find to be above average in baseball. Bobby Witt, way above average. Sal Perez amongst DHs and catchers, way above average. Just saying. It's an interesting spot, to say the very least, with Brady Singer on the other side, who, yes, gives up hard hit in his own right more than Bryce Miller, 49.2% hard hit percentage, and the Seattle Mariners. We've been backing them a lot. It went well with the White Sox, except for one time it did not. But we've been backing them a lot. They've been on the torrid pace, one of the best records in baseball in the second half of the season. Quote me if I'm wrong, but I believe the best record in baseball in the second half of the season. It was them. You got teams like Philly surging, but Seattle, they've really kind of taken over and started to do what you would expect. I think this is a great spot to possibly be invested in Brady Singer. He throws a sinker slider change combination. And yeah, that hard hit is not pretty, but a 272 expected batting average, 19.7% K rate. He's improved over his last 30, and the batted ball profile, 4.79 expected ERA next to a 5.04 ERA. He's the inverse of what we just saw with Miller. So at plus 170, Kansas City improved lineup. I think this is potential massive value. And here's what I wrote. Kansas City money line. This is actually a lock play in my spreadsheet, but I know a lot of you would be upset by that, so I'm just going to call it a like, and there you go. Producer Jacob, he's an all-star. Get your game on. Go play. Kansas City money line with the lock and the thumbs up next to it, because I put the two together because it's my show, baby. Last game, let's get to a lock. Here's an actual lock, my friends, to round it all together. Birds of a feather now. Braves, Giants, Spencer Strider, Logan Webb. And Spencer Strider, I know a lot of people, depends what you think about ERA. What do you think about ERA? Let's have a conversation. Let's have an in-depth, deep dive on ERA. Let's actually not, because that sounds terrible. And ERA is not indicative of who a pitcher is. I care about XFIP. I care about XWOBA. I care about K rate. I care about those things because they're more predictive. But I'll just at least throw this out there. 3.57 ERA. You wouldn't think, hey, this is who I believe the best pitcher in baseball is if I told you that number at any point in any season for the last 25 years. But this is still the best pitcher in baseball. Spencer Strider, 3.02 expected ERA, 7.7% walk rate, which he's improved every season of his big league career, all of basically one of them, because in 2021 he showed up for 38 pitches. That doesn't count. But we're talking a 38.2% K rate, identical to the last year's mark. And now you're heading into San Francisco, where similar to T-Mobile, phenomenal pitchers park, the two best pitchers parks in baseball. San Francisco, Seattle. Miami's close third. But yeah, we're also getting Logan Webb on the other side of this one. His ground ball rate is an absolute freaking superpower. Amongst qualified pitchers, number one, 61.4% ground ball rate here this season, sub 4% walk rate. And then the K's, 24.2% coming along for the ride. And yes, is very, 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 very terrifying. To be saying 7.5 is a number for Braves Giants, because we just see the Braves score 50 trillion runs every single time out. But friends, this is the best play at the board at the current juice that we are looking at. I have to repeat this so that you know I don't want to see your tickets saying minus 115 on 7.5 or something of that nature. The under 7.5 is at minus 105. I have this for 6.6 runs, which would be just drastic value. You give me a full run inside of anything that is at 7.5 in a ballpark that suppresses runs, I am going to slam it. My favorite play almost of the week. No, I only have a unit on this right now. But either way, wanted to throw it out there. Lock button, my friends. Giants, Braves, under 7.5. Logan Webb, Spencer Strider, your two premier pitchers on this slate. I'm ready to rock. And that does it for another edition of Liddy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays on the board for Friday's slate. Overall, it's been an up and down week. Again, we had a week and a half of just smashing, and then it was a day and a half of badness because Wednesday night was fantastic. Thursday morning got going okay, a little bit of profit. Hopefully, Arizona can get it done for us there. And then hopefully Friday, all those plays hit and we can all be happy together. You'll be especially happy if you check out Caesars Sportsbook right there here on the TV. You sign up for that, bet $50, get $250 by signing up that link below. Only if you're 21 and over, and if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Thank you to producer Jacob with a C, the best producer that I've ever seen, named Jacob. Thank you so much. He's the absolute best. Give him some love in that comment section too. Alrighty, y'all. I'll be back next week. You know the deal. Eitan Shander, he's going to be with you for the weekend. Watch his videos. Give him some love. That's for sure. Until next time, friends. Until next week. I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Friday.